Oh my heavens. Alvin! Alvin! My crew just showed that to me literally a minute ago and say, hey, you want to use this? I said, put it up first. It's hilarious. Alvin! Hey, gang, come on in. One and all. Great to see you all here. Come on in. I see you coming on in. We're having a special live stream Saturday. We haven't done one of these. I remember I used to do a lot of videos, just a quick video, just a update video on the weekend on Saturday. I haven't been able to do that in a while, but now because of the great news of this amazing free app that you can download by going to fight.turleytalks.com, we've got almost 8,000 downloads, gang. Maybe we'll have 8,000 by the end of this live stream. I wanted to do one and just chat with you. Also, I want to address a couple of rumors that have been going around. I wanted to talk about that. Also, I wanted to give you an update on our battle with big tech that's been going on. I think that's very important. But also, Alvin Bragg's case is collapsing. I mean, it's falling apart. It's being widely recognized by a number of legal scholars that this case that was always absurd on its face is indeed unraveling, or as some would say, collapsing under its own weight. But greetings, everyone. We got a lot to chat about. Come on in, one and all. I am your host, of course, Dr. Steve. Ooh, I'm seeing, am I frozen there? What's going on there, gang? You are. Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me, but I am somehow frozen. I wonder what is going on with Joshua. Look at that. And could there be it's a connection? Huh. I mean, I have seems like Wi-Fi issues on my end. All right. Hold on. Let me see what I can do here. Hold on. Do you guys think I could leave the studio and come back in? Will the feed still be going? Yes. All right, guys. I'm going to leave the studio and I'm going to come back in, and hopefully that is going to fix the live stream. So I will be yeah. All right. So yeah, it's working a lot. Let me leave and then come on back. All right, it looks like we're back. Ooh, we even got some cool music going on. That's pretty neat. All right. See, gang, this is the crew. This is the crew that's behind me, our 30-plus staff members that are behind me that make this thing work. So thanks, guys. It looks like we're rocking and rolling. So come on in, one and all. I think we're doing it. Boy, we're getting attacked in more ways than one, are we not? By the way, for all my Orthodox brothers and sisters, a happy Saturday of Lazarus. Today is Lazarus Saturday. So our Easter in the Eastern Orthodox Church is this next Sunday. We're way apart from Western Easter, and we could get into, if you want. And one of the questions you want to ask me, by the way, is if you want to ask me questions today, same as we've been doing all week, just go ahead, click on the link down below, or go to fight.turleytalks.com, download the app, and when you download it, join any level of support there. You can even do the most basic, which is the brass level, if I recall, any level of support. And what I'll do, that'll automatically enter you into our membership of our Insiders Club. And that's where we have a virtual studio, our own private backstage virtual studio. You can ask me any question you want. I'll be happy to answer it there. But so we can, if you want to know why there is a difference in date between Western and Eastern Easters, I'll be happy to share that with you. But what's so cool for my Orthodox brothers and sisters, and this applies, of course, to Western Easter as well, is the Saturday of Lazarus, the raising of Lazarus, is 8 days before Easter. 8 days before Easter Sunday. Now, why is 8 significant? Oh, I'm sorry, it's bronze level. Sorry, my fault. Bronze level. If you join the bronze level, you are, or any level, you're automatically entered into the Insiders Club. Why is 8 important in the Bible? 8 is the number of restoration, right? So God creates the world in 6 days. He rests on the 7th day, but we screw it up. So there needs to be an 8th day to restore God's cosmos, God's creation, right? And so that's why we worship on Sunday. Sunday is the 8th day of the new creation, as it were. It's the first day of the new week, but the 8th day of the previous week, right? So 8 is considered to be this number of restoration and recreation. So on Noah's Ark, there are 8 people, for example. And what's so cool, what's so neat, is this first resurrection that we initiate Holy Week with, the resurrection of Lazarus, is 8 days before the resurrection of them all. And what's also cool for you Bible nerds out there is there are 3 resurrections in the Old Testament. A lot of people don't know this, but there are. You have the 1 Kings 17, the resurrection of the widow's son in Zarephath. Then you have the resurrection of the Shunammite's son in 2 Kings 4. And then you have the resurrection of the man who was thrown into Elisha's grave in 2 Kings 13. So there are actually 3 resurrections in the Old Testament. Then when you get to the New Testament, you have the resurrection of Jairus's daughter. You have the resurrection of the widow of Nain's son. You have the resurrection of Lazarus. And then you have the very interesting resurrection of the saints. We're told about this in Matthew 27, where after Christ dies on the cross and the veil is torn in two in the temple, we're told that the tombs open up and the saints began to walk among the people in Jerusalem. That's 7 resurrections, 3 in the old, and then Jairus' daughter, the widow of Nain's son, Lazarus, and then these saints who came out and walked among the people. That's 7 resurrections. So what's the 8th? Isn't that cool? Christ himself is the 8th resurrection. The 8th resurrection. So, and that's why we worship on the 8th day, the day of the Lord's day, the day of new creation. So anyway, God bless you guys. Enjoy your Lazarus Saturday, 8 days before the 8th resurrection that restores the cosmos, as the entire cosmos is incorporating the transformative life, death, and resurrection of Christ. Before we dive into Bragg's collapsing case here, let me give you an update on what's been going on with our behind the scenes with our battle with big tech. As many of you know, on last Tuesday night's live stream, I revealed to all of you that Google and YouTube have once again demonetized us for a second time in a row. We complied with everything they required of us in our first demonetization. And unfortunately, when we reapplied, they moved the goalposts and they came up with an entirely new infraction to slap us with. According to Google, we are now technically harmful content. Our videos are deemed harmful to YouTube's audience, and we have been cut off from any and all monetization for the foreseeable future. No super chats, nothing. We've been completely demonetized. Well, yesterday, I got another email. Now they're about to deactivate our AdSense account altogether. And it's because our AdSense account has not had any activity in the last 5 months. So it's about to be deactivated. Now, of course, we haven't had any activity in our AdSense account because they demonetized us. So it's just pouring salt on the wound at this point. They are now deactivating our entire AdSense account. Now, again, in fairness, they're telling us we can reactivate it when we're ready to remonetize again. But of course, it's not a matter of us being ready to remonetize. They've been demonetizing us. So it's just another layer of just crap that we're dealing with these guys. I mean, it's just beyond absurd. Now, there is a rumor going around. My staff has informed me. There is a rumor going around that there is a concern that I am retiring, that I am fleeing from these tech tyrants, and I am going back to academia. I'm going back to the comfort of libraries and lectures. I shared with you on Tuesday night that that is at least partially true. That did cross my mind. Remember, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not used to seeing a financial blow like this and then just roll with it, right? Like my business partner is, Ralph Cochran. He's able to roll with these. At least he makes me think he is. I don't know. But I mean, I told you, I shared with you Tuesday night, we're losing over $1 million with this demonetization. That's, we've got 30 plus staff members here behind the scenes, as you guys can see. And how am I going to pay them? That's the thought going on in my head. Well, I can't. So I guess it's time to retire. I guess it's time for me to go back to academia. I'll go back to college. I'll go back to the classical school world. I'll get a job writing for some website. I don't know. Like I said, my wife and I even looked at our savings to see if I have enough to just actually fully retire early. We don't, but so yes, the thought crossed my mind. But like I told you guys on Tuesday night, something amazing happened that literally revivified me. Nice, kind of on a Lazarus Saturday here. Something happened that totally shocked me back into determination. And that something is you. You happened, all of you. You guys not even knowing it over the last few weeks. You have carried me through this. You've carried all of us, our staff, everybody through this. With your amazing questions, with you encouraging us and your inspiring comments and all the videos, with the ones, those of you who I've met personally in our meetups, at conferences, and in the different cities I was visiting through the American Freedom Tour with President Trump, Dinesh D'Souza I did last year, a couple years back. I mean, you happened. And when I thought about losing this relationship that we built together over the last 7 years, I said, literally, F you, Google. F you, YouTube. There is no way I'm letting you get in between us. So, gang, I'm here. I'm staying. I'm fighting. I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for our relationship. I'm fighting for this community that we've built up together over the last several years. And so that's when on Tuesday night, we made the big announcement. of what the international woke police didn't know when they were canceling us is that staff of 30 I've got behind me, behind the scenes, they've been preparing for a moment just like this over the last year and a half. And we unveiled it on Tuesday night, and it is what we're calling our ARC, our brand new Turley Talks app. It is a beautiful personal app that you can download completely free, as well as join one of our levels of support to help us financially during this difficult time. Not going to lie to you, this hurts. What big tech did to us financially hurts. We need your help. If you love what we've got, I need you to step up and fight on our behalf and support us here by just joining one of those levels. And you see this here, this bell? Yeah, there you go. I was like, wait a minute, where'd it go? It disappeared. What happened to my bell? We had this bell specially made for when we rolled out the app. We didn't expect to roll out the app this soon, right? This bell is a sound of liberty. Again, let's just keep going with the theology here. Bells in the Bible first appear with the great high priest. The great high priest wore bells on his vestments because when he went into the Holy of Holies, he was hidden behind a veil. He was there with the Ark of the Covenant, atoning for the sins of the people. And it's so holy. That center is so holy that he could die. The bells, as long as the people heard the bells, they knew their sins were being atoned for and they were being freed from the tyranny of sin. And so when Christ, our great high priest, came, then this bell, the bell, is the sound that Christ has now taken away the sins of the world. We are now free. So that's why cathedrals have bells on them. And this bell in particular is a beautiful antique brass bell that we're giving to everyone who signs up on either our sapphire or diamond levels, our top two levels. We want to give you your own bell of liberty as a beautiful, tangible symbol of how you really are effectively fighting for freedom and standing up in defiance against tech tyrants. So just join any level tonight, any level of support, and I'm going to ring this. I'm going to announce your name. I'm going to ring this bell at the end in your honor. Thank you so much for standing up with us. But all you have to do, gang, the app itself, just click on the link below or go to fight.turleytalks.com. And what you do is you just make an account there and then check your inbox. We've got a special declaration of restoration, an email. It's going to be sent to you. I'll read it for you at some point today. Remind me in case I forget. It is a beautiful, very bold petition to big tech that you can sign. You could put your name. We've already got 1,000 signatures on it. And it's going to inform these tech tyrants that a new day has dawned. They no longer have control over us. We're taking our nation back. We are cancel proof. We are always going to be cancel proof. A lot of people ask, why don't you just go full time on Rumble or something like that, or Telegram or something like that? Look at what they're trying to do to Elon. They're trying to take him down, right? They're trying to take him down. They're trying to take down Twitter. They're going to try to take down Rumble. So we're staying on YouTube. We're staying on Rumble. We're staying on everything. But this is our axis around which the spokes of all the different social media that we don't own revolve, because we own this. This is ours. This app is ours. We own it. No one can get in between us. So, and I'm so excited, by the way. Well, let's see. You're seeing it down. We got 7,800 app downloads so far, and we're in the top 200 of all entertainment apps on the App Store. And you guys did that. Also, we do have, I've got so much to get in here. We do have some giveaways as well. We're calling it Office Hours with Dr. Steve. Anyone who clicks on that link below or goes to fight.turleytalks.com and downloads this free app, your name is going to be enrolled in sort of this digital randomizer. And if I pick your name, then you're going to have office hours with me. We're going to meet personally, online, one-on-one. All you have to do is just make that free account, fill in all your log information. Boom, you're automatically entered. And we're going to choose a couple of names tonight to have office hours with your Patriot Professor, Dr. Steve. So make sure if you have not downloaded the app, download it right now. It's easy. And then if you have any problems, go to, support@turleytalks.com. Support@turleytalks.com. Somebody will be there to help you. Exciting stuff. Lots of stuff going on here, including the implosion of the case of Alvin Bragg. Let's dive right in. So let's make sure we all have a solid understanding of what's going on with this pathetic, corrupt Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, what he's been trying to do here. A number of legal scholars, so I'm talking Alan Dershowitz of Harvard, Jonathan Turley of George Washington University, Robert Barnes. A lot of you guys know Robert Barnes and his work on Viva Frei. Many other legal minds have all pointed out that this hush money case is by far the weakest, flimsiest case of them all. Okay, of the 4 indictments against Trump, right? So you got the 2 from Jack Smith, and of course, those are collapsing under the weight of the whole immunity decision that'll be coming out from the Supreme Court. The Fannie Willis case, right? Fulton Fannie and her boy toy and so forth, that will most likely collapse because of immunity. And then this hush money case, right? Of those 4, this hush money case is by far the weakest. And the reason for that is basically simple. What you have to get is it's a Frankenstein case. It's not just a bizarre patchwork of different apparent infractions and legal invention, reasoning, and all that sort of stuff. But it was a dead case that got zapped back to life by creating this strange patchwork of different cases, bootstrapping a misdemeanor into a federal crime. It's into a felony, basically. In other words, Trump is right now being charged with a high-level felony because he supposedly committed a low-level misdemeanor. Let that hit you. I mean, you've got to get that if you want to explain this to someone. He is being charged right now in a Manhattan courtroom with a high-level felony for committing a low-level misdemeanor. How did that happen? It's all right. So just make sure we understand what's going on here. Trump was originally accused of falsifying his business documents. Okay. So that's the original accusation. Trump is accused of falsifying his business documents. The accusation is coming after the Trump Organization back in 2015, 2016, filed the $130,000 payment made to the now disgraced lawyer Michael Cohen as a legal expense on their taxes. The Manhattan DA's office turned around and said, that's got nothing to do with legal services. That's a hush money payment. So they accused the Trump Organization of falsifying their business documents. That's the fundamental charge, right? By listing the $130,000 payment to Cohen as a legal expense, Trump, or more properly, the Trump Organization, is accused of falsifying their business documents. Okay, so that's right. It wasn't a legal expense. It was a hush money expense. Okay. So that brings us secondly to the problem with that accusation. The problem for these corrupt Democrats is that such a charge is, one, nothing more than a low-level misdemeanor in the state of New York, right? No problem. It's a misdemeanor. Okay, yeah, you falsified some business returns. All right, misdemeanor. Two, second problem, statute of limitations has already run out. We're dealing with something back in 2015, 2016, right? Like 8 years ago. So this was a mere misdemeanor where the statute of limitations run out. So bottom line, none of this should be happening right now. None of this should be happening. It was a low-level misdemeanor where the statute of limitations run out. So then this brings us to the third point here. And this is where the corruption inside the Democrat Party and the media and the legal system comes in. What Alvin Bragg did to zap this thing back to life was he accused Trump of falsifying his business records in order to cover up another crime. So Trump committed a crime, falsifying his business records, in order to cover up for another crime. Now, in the state of New York, if someone falsified business records in order to cover up a crime, that's a felony. Now, Trump is being accused of paying the hush money in order to hide his supposed affair with Stormy Daniels, which he never had, by the way. In order to hide his affair with Stormy Daniels from his presidential campaign, which is a campaign finance violation under federal law. So that's something the Justice Department would try him on. The problem is the Justice Department already looked into this and refused to press charges. That's utterly fatal for Bragg's case. The very department that has jurisdiction over campaign finance violations looked at this in depth at these charges against Trump and dropped them. So there's nothing there. So if the first charge died the death of the statute of limitations, now the second charge is dying the death of a dismissal from the Justice Department. But that doesn't matter to a level of corruption inside the Democrat Party that knows no depths too low. Bragg took a low-level misdemeanor that's not even valid because of the statute of limitations, but used it as an excuse to accuse Trump of trying to cover up another crime, which itself is a felony. If you use, right, if you falsify business records to cover up another crime, that's a felony. He used it to as an excuse to accuse Trump of trying to cover up another crime, which is a felony in the state of New York, and that other crime, another crime, is a campaign finance violation that the Justice Department, in charge of prosecuting campaign violations, has dismissed. And yet somehow CNN is acting like this is an actual valid and coherent case. Somehow, someway, MSNBC is trying to convince you this is a valid, coherent case against Trump. And boy, is he losing. Boy, is he looking bad. All right, so with that as our background, here is what happened this week that is exemplifying a case that is collapsing under its own incoherence, okay? First, we found out there is no evidence at all, that Trump even knew that this was a payment that was being made. Trump didn't even know about the payment. There's no evidence at all that he knew about the payment, $130,000 to Cohen. And he never even knew that that payment was being listed as a legal expense. In other words, there's no evidence whatsoever he had anything to do with the original accusation of falsifying business records. Anything. His company, maybe, sure, somebody in there, but not Trump. His signature is not on any of the documents involved. And then to make matters even worse, it wouldn't matter if he had signatures because the whole case has died. It died months ago. It was killed by the statute of limitations. So that's the first thing. There's no evidence whatsoever that Trump even knew Michael Cohen got paid the $130,000, and there's no evidence that he knew it was being filed as a legal expense. Second, and I just put in parentheses, and even if he did, it wouldn't matter because the statute of limitations have run out. But second, Bragg decided to lead his case off by putting up a guy by the name of David Pecker on the witness stand. Now, David Pecker is a former publisher of the National Enquirer tabloid. Okay, He is the first witness called against Trump. Now, Pecker had supposedly been paid to kill a story about a Trump affair with a different woman, a woman by the name of Karen McDougal. She was a former Playboy model. So they thought, oh, this is cool. We'll show this pattern of behavior here. What ended up happening was an utter disaster for the prosecution. Pecker ended up making the prosecution case even more absurd under cross-examination. He admitted that Trump told him personally that he knew nothing about any reimbursement to Cohen or any hush money whatsoever. Trump knew nothing about the actual payment to Cohen. Again, which is corroborated by the fact that there's no signature of his involving the payment on any of the documents. He knew nothing about the actual payment, let alone knowing that it was filed on their tax return. So that basically kills the first accusation. Their first witness killed their first accusation with Trump that he deliberately falsified his business documents when he paid Cohen. He didn't know anything about the payment, didn't know anything about how it was filed. But then it gets worse. Peck admitted that he killed similar stories about Trump and other women for decades. That's what he did more or less for a living for all kinds of celebrities. Arnold Schwarzenegger, you name it. All these different celebrities came up. Trump was a huge celebrity. He's been doing this for decades. And here's the key. Decades before Trump ever announced he was running for president. What's the second charge? What's the other crime that this legal filing was supposed to cover up? That Trump was trying to hide Stormy Daniels from the campaign. You see, this is what makes campaign finance violation charges so hard to prove. In order, what the prosecution has to prove is that Trump only tried to hide Stormy Daniels in order to keep that story out of the presidential campaign back in 2016. But there's a whole host of reasons why a celebrity like Trump would want a story buried. It's not necessarily only because he's running for president. It may be because he's going to be embarrassed around Melania. There's a whole host of reasons for it. And Pecker proved that. He proved that Trump has had him bury stories. Again, whether they're true or not is irrelevant. He just didn't want the stories out there to embarrass him. He's had them bury stories decades before he ran for president. So that kills the second accusation. The very fact that there were demonstrably other reasons for burying a story that Trump didn't want to go public with, other than running for president, destroys the campaign finance violation charge. So this case is imploded before it's even started. Again, it's absolutely insane. And so we'll see what happens next week, right? That's when Michael Cohen is supposedly going to take the stand. And the problem with Cohen now, this disgraced, disbarred lawyer, Michael Cohen, the problem here is that Cohen is either lying now or he was lying back then, as it were. That's the scenario. He's an admitted liar. All right. Even Joe Scarborough is admitting that Mike Cohen is a liar. There was a letter sent to federal authorities back in 2018 where Michael Cohen explicitly denied receiving reimbursement from Donald Trump or his organization for making payments to Stormy Daniels. That letter, he later contradicted. He changed his tune when he was in front of a grand jury, saying that Trump did instruct him to pay $130,000 to Stormy Daniels to prevent her from revealing their alleged affair just days before the 2016 presidential election. So either he's lying now or he was lying then. That's the problem. There's just no way around that. No matter how you shake it, you've got an admitted liar as your chief witness. And again, keep in mind, just underscore how flimsy this case is. There's nothing wrong with Trump doing that. Even if his change of story is true, I mean, let that hit you. Even if what Cohen is now saying is true, that's still not a crime, as this original witness Pecker testifies. They do it all the time. They pay, quote, hush money all the time. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing illegal with paying hush money. So strap yourselves in, gang. This is a crazy case. And it looks like this next week, it's about to get even crazier. Over to you guys. Over to you. Hey, download that app. You see it right there. Fight.turleytalks.com. Fight.turleytalks.com. We got so far 7,841 app downloads. Let's get it to 8,000, gang. Let's do it. I want to see us get to 8,000 downloads before the end of this week. We built this app, as you know, to stick it to big tech. We've had it with big tech bullying us. We've had it with big tech trying to intimidate us. They don't intimidate us. All they do is awaken our ingenuity, because we're patriots. We fight for faith, family, and freedom. So we built this app. It is a beautiful app that you can download totally free. And it's our way of making sure that we are never, ever canceled. You can get all my videos. You can get everything that you get on YouTube, but now in the comfort of an app right on your own. Any electronic device, your iPhone, your Android, computer, your iPad, you name it, whatever you got, just download it and you got it. Now, there could be levels of support there that we would really appreciate you sign up for. I shared with everybody at the beginning, if you're just coming in to join us. But YouTube is now, they are basically, they're disabling now our whole, well, it's Google AdSense. They're disabling our Google AdSense account. Our AdSense account is being deactivated now officially. So they've demonetized us. They're deactivating our account. They're costing us over $1 million that we use to pay our staff of 30 here. I really could use your help to sign up from one of those levels of support. If you sign up in the top 2 levels of support, that's our Diamond and Sapphire, you're going to get a beautiful brass bell that symbolizes the sound of freedom. I gave you at the beginning the theology of the bell. It represents the sound that our sins are being atoned for. It goes back to the high priest Israel, who wore bells on his vestments when he ever went into the Holy of Holies. You couldn't go in. You couldn't see what was happening, but it was so holy that he could die. And as long as you heard the bells ringing in his ritualized gestures and so forth, that meant he's alive and that your sins were being atoned for. And so we have our own Liberty Bell that has, I believe it's a Leviticus 25 on it that basically says, proclaim liberty to the captives throughout the land. It's a year of Jubilee announcement connected with, again, from the book of Leviticus, the priestly activities of the high priest in Israel. And it declares the release of the slaves on the year of Jubilee according to biblical law. And so when Christ comes as the great high priest, the bell takes on this amazing significance whenever we hear it, that the sins of the world have been taken up, as the entire world has been transformed into the life, death, and resurrection of Christ himself. So anyway, we want to send this beautiful bell to you as just a token of our thanks and as a reminder of the freedom that you are standing up for by becoming either a Sapphire or Diamond member. Also, anyone, you sign up for any level of support today, I'm going to ring this bell, the special bell we had made just for this week here. I'm going to say your name and ring the bell in honor of you, and you're standing up in defiance of tech tyranny. Also, if you just want to ask any question of me, since we've had our super chats disabled, ask any question, join any level of support. You'll automatically be entered into our Insiders Club. And in our Insiders Club, there's a virtual platform that we have where you can ask me all your questions and I'll answer them right here. Shall we do a giveaway? The cool thing, they're telling me, let's do a giveaway. The cool thing here is we're doing some free giveaways for this free app. So all you got to do is go to fight.turleytalks.com or just click on the link below, download the app, and then your name is going to be entered into a free giveaway. We're calling it Office Hours with Dr. Steve. If your name gets selected, you get to have a little time one-on-one with me, your Patriot professor. We're gonna have office hours together, which is good in the university. It's not being called to the principal's office. It's a good thing. We get to have a little chat together. So yes, let's do it. Why don't we have our first giveaway? Let's enter these names in and ready. Let's spin it. I don't hear the ticka 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 ticka. I like the ticka ticka ticka. Oh, there it is. I hear it now. And our first off the power on the DST fan. DST fan, contact us at, is it Freedom? I think I did it Liberty last time. It's freedom at turleytalks.com. Freedom at turleytalks.com. Yes, I had it written down correctly. Freedom at turleytalks.com. And I will collect your prize, and I will be happy to chat with you in the next couple of weeks. We'll have some fun together. All right. Let me, you know what, gang? I think I might want to, are we getting some questions? Let me know, gang. Staff. Yes, we are getting quite what. Let's answer a couple of questions. And I do want to read for you the Declaration of Restoration because I think it's very beautiful. We'll do another drawing to have office hours with Dr. Steve. And then I'm going to ring the bell for all of you who have joined one of our levels of support to help us out financially. If we get enough of you guys to help us out financially, we're going to easily absorb this blow from big tech. No problem. You guys coming to our rescue is the most amazing thing imaginable. I can't thank you enough for it. Let's do a couple of questions. Vlad the Impaler, my favorite. I love that. Romanian. Do you think cannibals will eat Joe before November? Funny coming from you, Vlad. That's hilarious. Oh my. Will you think cannibals will eat Joe before November? What? I mean, can you imagine had Trump said something like that? Can you imagine what Joe Scarborough would have said of that? And Mika. You know, I mean, it's just it just brings absurdity to whole new levels. I mean, this Alvin Bragg case is this Alvin Bragg case is absurd. Biden is absurd. The legacy media is absurd. It is. It's just all so absurd. So Vlad, brilliant. We could only hope. No, we don't wish him any harm. But well, I don't know what would go well with Biden. So gangly and gross. I don't know. Barbecue sauce. I don't know. No. Browning Man 2012, Dr. 212, Dr. Turley, can we defeat this military-industrial complex in Nazi mainstream media and big tech? Yes, we can. We can. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but we see it all the time. Look at Eastern Europe right now. They were under the tyranny of Soviet communism for 40 years, and now they are the most conservative, traditionalist, identity-based nations in all of Europe. In many ways, Western Europe's trying to catch up with them with Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, and Marine Le Pen in France, Giorgia Meloni, who's been a bit disappointing in Italy, and Jimmy Åkesson in Sweden. So, I mean, it is pretty amazing. What we're AFD, we just saw the Alternative for Deutschland is the number one party for voters under 30 right now. When they ask, who do you identify with most, they're picking AFD by far. So the world is finding emancipation from this globalist insanity, but it's going to take time. It's going to look at Russia itself. Soviet Union collapsed, and now the Russian Orthodox Church has risen to a prominence not seen since the days of the czars. I mean, you have far left-wing lunatics out there basically just calling Russia a fundamentalist theocracy at this point. So we'll win. It's going to happen. The world is moving in that direction. We talk about those dynamics all the time here, and but it's going to be very frustrating because it's deeply, deeply entrenched. But so is the Soviet Union. If you could even argue the Soviet Union in many respects was even more entrenched. They had 70 years to entrench themselves, but they eventually rotted out. That's the problem. It doesn't matter how entrenched you are in a rotting institution, you know. If it's basically imploding under its own weight, it's going to implode. And I think that's what's happening ultimately to the military-industrial complex. What makes our situation a bit harder, obviously, is the U.S. dollar. The USD is the default currency. But BRICS, so as long as it's default currency, they don't even need us. See, authoritarian regimes function through cash flow. They need cash flow um, beyond their tax dollars, because the people can end up they can end up protesting and basically boycotting the regime by refusing to pay their taxes and hiding their money. So authoritarian regimes need cash flow outside of tax dollars. And so it may be oil, it may be some kind of commodity. It may be, the black market, like North Korea has almost a monopoly over at this point. You have to have a cash flow other than taxpayers. And so the fact that the USD is the default currency around the world, that's basically Washington, D.C.'s cash flow. That enables them to spend all of this debt money because they have the money now. It's given to them by different countries buying up our bonds. But if they were all to make a run on those bonds and on the U.S. Treasury and say, all right, give us our money now, of course, we default in an instant. So BRICS is going to change the game on that. They already are. I forget if the USD is under 50% now, but I think it's getting there in terms of being used as the world currency and trade. The yuan is now popping up as a major currency. They even have their own financial transaction system like SWIFT, which is really globalism in a nutshell. SWIFT is the default global financial transaction system that has the United States, Canada, European nations, I think Japan on its board. So that was used to sanction Russia. China has its own SWIFT. It's called KIPS. And I believe it's very closely getting to parity in terms of the amount of transactions that happen through KIPS. That's what Russia's using. Now we're seeing with Visa and MasterCard. Visa and MasterCard's now been surpassed by UnionPay. UnionPay is China's their version of a Visa or MasterCard. As a matter of fact, I may have shared with you guys, my son and I went to a Chinese buffet, a local Chinese buffet a few weeks back. We walked in, my youngest son, who's a total nerd, geopolitical nerd, pointed to the doors. We were walking and said, "Dad, check it out." And it says, we take Visa, MasterCard, and UnionPay. And he's such a nerd. He knows what UnionPay is. UnionPay has surpassed Visa and MasterCard. So it is happening. It is happening. And the USD being the default currency is what, in the end, funds this military-industrial complex. It will melt at some point, but it's going to take time, and we're going to have to persevere through it. Thank you, Browning Man. Maximilian, what is the Christian approach to victimhood? How have leftists perverted it against us? And how do we retake the conceptual space they occupy? And where do I learn more? You always push me on learning more. I gotta open up my mental bibliography here. Well, so Christ on the cross is the archetypical victim. It's just coming to my mind. I'm wondering if it's related to the Latin victor, which actually means, to win, right? So that's interesting because, and the Christian, the Greek word for witness, to testify and to witness to the good news of the truth of Christ is matreo, where we get the word martyr from. So, the victim in Christianity is actually understood, ironically, very, very positively. Even if you think about it, in the prologue to the Sermon on the Mount, right? Blessed are, and then he names everyone you would think is the opposite of blessed, right? Those who are mourning, who are crying, who are devastated at loss, right? Those are being persecuted. Those who are poor, right? So he's listing all the people you would think are at the bottom of a social strata, and he's in effect saying, no, they're on the top. They're on the top. He who humbles himself will be exalted. So he basically inverts the world in many respects. And he lives that out as being, the highest person, right? Who then lowers himself to a slave and submits himself to the most horrific, horrendous death imaginable. This is a huge stumbling block, as I understand it, for Islamists, for Muslims. How could God humiliate himself that way? So victimhood in Christianity is actually seen as a means of divine grace. It's rooted in the notion that God is God. It is the very nature and being of God to empty himself, to lower himself in order to be filled with himself. So the Father, it's known as kenosis in the Greek. The Father empties himself. He lowers himself. He makes himself nothing in order to be filled with the Son and the Spirit. And the Son lowers himself, empties himself in order to be filled with the Father and the Spirit. And the Spirit lowers himself and empties himself in order to be filled with the Father and the Son. And so when God creates the world, he creates the cosmos, particularly in patristic theology, God was always going to enter and incarnate himself into his creation, because that's what God does. He makes himself nothing in order to be filled with the love of the other as an expression of his own love. So that's why we confess in the Nicene Creed, who for us and our salvation made himself man. Christ, the Son, who for us and for our salvation. First it's for us, then it's for our salvation, as it were. Because if you think it through, when the world, with this theology of emptying and literally humbling, humiliating oneself in order to be filled with the other, this is the ideal, by the way, of a Christian husband. A Christian husband is supposed to empty himself and be a servant to his wife. That's what Paul says. So, serve your wife as Christ served the church and gave his life for the church. So we fall, we alienate ourselves from God. So how does God rescue us from this fall? How does God restore his creation? By making himself nothing, by emptying himself in order to draw us back in. In other words, God rescues the creation by simply being God. God rescues the creation by doing what he's always been doing for all eternity, emptying himself in order to be filled with the object of his love. And so that is what the Christ coming down, being incarnate, dying, being lowered into Hades, as it were, and then rising into newness of life. It is this motion of him drawing the whole of the cosmic order up into himself. So our notion of victimhood, ironically, entails victory. So that's why Athanasius said that's why Christ had to die on a cross, because it was only on the cross where the victim is placed in a posture of victory with hands raised up. Where it seems to have fallen apart is it got overlaid with Marxism. And Marxism is basically a secular Christianity. Marxism takes all of the categories of Christianity, an original paradise. So it takes this Rousseauian conception of the nobility of the savage, as it were, somebody the Aborigine. It takes sin and replaces it with class struggle. It takes salvation and replaces it with the state, and it takes the kingdom of God and replaces it with a communist utopia on earth. That gets revamped in a cultural Marxism, where it's not so much class and status anymore, and economics. It's now culture, it's race, it's gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and so on. And then the victim is now understood in terms of power discrepancies. right? So because that's the base of Marxism. The Marxism is rooted in what's called dialectical materialism. We have two opposite powers, as it were, an oppressor and oppressed, and eventually, over time, they become one. It's the oppressor gets overwhelmed by the oppressed, and so the power discrepancies end up getting resolved. And so, as a result of that, these cultural Marxists see oppressors in racial and gender and religious terms now instead of class and economic, and then the oppressed in racial, gender, and sexual terms. And so their job is not so much to bring them together. Their job is to make sure that the oppressed becomes the oppressor. And so the victim is now weaponized in such a way so as to oppress others. That's basically the gist of it. So, what to read? What to read? There's tons of stuff to read on cultural Marxism. Anything on cultural Marxism. I love Eric Kaufman. He's been doing a lot of research on that. He's, to my knowledge, he was at the University of London. Now he's at, I think, Buckingham College in the UK. Kaufman, Kaufmann. He's the one who wrote the Religious Shall Inherit the Earth thesis. And he has a whole college course, I believe, online on wokeness. And he's writing a book on wokeness and cultural Marxism, or what's technically known as cultural socialism. And then in terms of what I just gave you, the Trinity, it's deep reading, but try David Bentley Hart, The Beauty of the Infinite. That is some mind-blowing reading. That'll blow your mind in terms of Trinitarian theology. The Beauty of the Infinite. All right. There you go, Maximilian. Awesome. Let's do a couple more. Elizabeth, I've heard that the Heritage Foundation has already been working with President Trump on who he should be putting into his administration and who he should let go once he's back in office. Have you heard about that, or was I dreaming? No, you are right. I believe that is the Heritage Foundation. They're the ones who put together Schedule F. Heritage Foundation has come along. They've come along. At first, they're very resistant to Trump. They kind of laughed at him like a clown. They've really come a long way. I don't know. Maybe they were losing donors. I don't know what. But they recognize the real problem is exactly what Trump said. The real problem is the swamp. It's not ideology. It's not just putting in a bunch of conservatives and everything will be fine. You can put all the conservatives you want. You still got a deep state. You've got still got the military-industrial complex. They're just going to look great. Keep reading your books. That's great. We're the ones who are going to continue to exercise what's true power here in Washington, D.C. So, no, they're the ones who authored Schedule F. And if you put the Heritage Foundation Schedule F, you'll see that. It's part of the plan of basically firing tens of thousands of permanent Washington bureaucrats, finally getting them out. But not just getting them out, but then replacing them with bona fide patriots who basically take over the deep state. The deep state is there, and it's going to get hollowed out and filled in like a cavity, but with patriots, and then hopefully those patriots rein in whatever corruption is being basically used against us at this point. Thank you, Elizabeth. Rock Dog, Dr. Steve, after stage 4 cancer and now on fixed income, the $25 a month to keep you going is an investment in our country, in my opinion. That's beautiful, man. Thank you. That's awesome. Sean Erickson. Thank you, man. Dude, you touched my heart. Dude, that is unbelievable. Wow. Rock Dog, you're the best. Thank you. I'm not worthy. Thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you. Kenneth Bryant, voice talent. Do you know what the current status of the RNC's efforts to harness ballot harvesting across the nation? Looks pretty good. Sorry, I'm still very touched by what I just came across there. It looks pretty good. What I do to keep in touch with that is Scott Pressler. Scott tends to be my point guy, just my personal point guy. If he's happy, I'm happy because he's on the front lines. That's all he's doing. He's doing it in Pennsylvania. He's doing it. He helped Landry win in Louisiana freaking landslide win. So it looks pretty good. What we're doing now, so the first step to ballot harvesting is, as I understand, 3 steps. It's registering. It's getting people, because you got to send the ballot to somebody. It's registering. It's getting to fill the ballot out, right? And getting it to the counting place. Fill the ballot out, get into the counting place, whether through harvesting, whatever. And then third, this is huge, volunteering at your local polling center to audit the vote as it's being counted, making sure everything's getting counted rightly. So 1, 2, 3. So right now, as we speak, step 1, say, for example, in Pennsylvania has 64 counties. The Republicans have gained registrations in every single county. We are gaining registrations over Democrats in every single county, all 64, 66. So in Arizona, we have doubled registrations. We have doubled the Republican advantage over Democrats in terms of registration since 2020. Doubled it. I think we have now 250,000, 250,000. So stage 1 is going great. Stage 1 is going awesome. We are doing it. Now stage 2, we gotta get those new registered voters, their ballots, send them in, make sure they're sent in, right? Either them doing it themselves or through ballot harvesting, like at a local church, gun show, wherever. And then the third stage is to make sure we audit the count, audit the vote. If we're doing that, we're the good news is we have a good sense of how many Republicans have voted already before Election Day, because they do count Republican returns versus Democrat returns. As long as we're paired up, we're in parity, more or less 50-50, as it were. Democrat, Republican will crush them on Election Day. We'll absolutely crush them. Again, I know there could be shenanigans. I gotcha. But if there's enough of us, we will crush them. Remember, guys, make sure you download your free app. Oh, what are we at? 7881. Is that getting? I should keep tabs of this. 7,881. When you download your free app, either by clicking the link below or going to fight.turleytalks.com, you're going to get something in your mail. You're going to get an email, and it's going to be a invitation to sign what we're calling our Declaration of Restoration. This is really awesome here. This is our petition to big tech to let them know you are no longer in control. We are standing up in defiance of tech tyranny, and we are going to take back our nation. I want to read this to you. There is a spot where you can actually write with your own signature. We already have 1,000 signatures on here. And this is what our Declaration of Restoration says. And you get this right after you just click on the link below, go to fight.turleytalks.com, download the free app. It's completely free. You'll have an opportunity to join one of the levels of support, which we very much appreciate. But just download it, and then you're going to get in your email this Declaration of Restoration. And here's what it says. In the course of human events, when it becomes necessary for a people to reaffirm and restore the principles of liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness, it is the people's duty to facilitate and declare the restoration of these truths that our founding fathers established. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We do recognize that the government should derive its powers from the consent of the governed, and that its true purpose is to secure these rights. We, the people, refers to all loyal Americans, and this is a full declaration for said people. So we, the people of this great nation, reflecting on the wisdom of our forefathers and the current state of America, declare our commitment to the following foundational principles of restoration. Firstly, the sacred right to freedom, personal sovereignty, and the pursuit of individual happiness is for all. These rights extend to all people, regardless of race, gender, religion, or background. Secondly, the purpose of the government is to serve the people and protect their rights. It is essential that this government remain limited, transparent, and completely accountable to the governed and must not infringe on the liberties it was created to preserve. Thirdly, the rule of law applied justly and equally to all citizens, regardless of position or privilege. No one is above the law. Fourthly, a free and open society that protects the expression and exchange of ideas and information. We must recognize the importance of a free press and the right to assemble peacefully. Fifthly, the absolute necessity for economic freedom. Individuals will have the opportunity to create and pursue prosperity. This is achieved through innovation, hard work, and free enterprise with no interference from the government. Sixthly, the essential requirement to protect and defend our nation's sovereignty and the safety of the American citizens. This happens while still respecting the sovereignty of other nations. Seventhly, for all citizens to actively participate in the democratic process. They shall vote, serve their communities, and hold their elected representatives accountable for their actions. The erosion of the Christian faith on which our forefathers founded America continues to decay the hearts of the people, sowing division and mistrust. The sanctity of the family, the cornerstone of our society, crumbles and breeds discord. Our cherished freedoms, once a beacon of hope and light to all Americans, is threatened by an overarching government. Yet even amidst these trials, we, the faithful patriots of America, reaffirm our right to be free in a nation known for its enduring commitment to liberty and justice. It is through adversity that America has found her strength, and we, the people, will continue to fight and defend the foundational truths that make this country great. We must live up to the ideals our nation was founded on and must protect and preserve our freedoms to remain the strongest nation in the world. The foundational principles of our country must be protected and remain firm against those who seek to destroy America's lasting principles through the thievery of the aforementioned unalienable rights. So we, the people, pledge to rekindle the flames of faith. We will strengthen the bonds of family, recognize our fellow man as made in the image of God, and we will stand vigilant in safeguarding our freedoms, ensuring the principles above endure for generations to come. These ideals will thrive as we collectively forge a path forward from this moment on to secure faith, family, and freedom. We do so with a deep sense of duty, a commitment to unity, and an unwavering belief that the principles of liberty and justice shall endure for generations to come. In witness whereof, we set our signatures and dedicate ourselves to this declaration of restoration on this day to ensure that our great nation continues to be a beacon of freedom, justice, and opportunity for all. So that is what will be sent to you after you download the app by going to fight.turleytalks.com or just clicking on the link below. That's going to be sent to you via your email. And all you have to do is just go ahead and sign it. And you will be one of over 1,000 of our supporters signing this. And this is going to be our message to big tech. Their days of tech tyranny over our lives is over. Absolutely. All right. Why don't we do a little bell ringing, shall we? The bell, as I told you, is a symbol of our freedom, our liberty, our independence. That's why it's on top of churches. It rings to announce the freedom that we have from sin, death, and the devil, procured for us by Christ, by his transformative life, death, and resurrection. There's a reason why we have a liberty bell. It proclaims liberty to all the captives. It comes from Leviticus 25, telling from the injunction that on the year of Jubilee, all slaves are to be freed. Remember, the real slavery is not Pharaoh. The real slavery is sin. We're literally enslaved to ourselves, to the demonic, to the satanic, and the ultimate high priest. I say that because the priestly high priest, the Israelite high priest, had bells on his vestments so that you can hear that he hasn't been struck dead by God when he was ministering in the Holy of Holies at once a year on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. And as long as you heard the bells, you knew that life and liberty were at hand. And so that's why when the great high priest comes, Christ, the bell signifies that liberty has come. So I want to honor those of you who have signed up on, like Rock Dog, you have signed up on our levels of support. Any level you sign up will be appreciated during this time as we're facing another round of demonetization. And now they're deactivating our entire Google Ads account. So with that in mind, let me honor those of you who signed up on one of our levels of support with a ringing of freedom. Who do we got? Who do we got? Michael C. has joined our bronze level. Michael, thank you, sir. Very kind of you. Slucom has joined our bronze level. Thank you, Slucom. Thank you, sir. We're honored. Styx has joined our bronze level. If that's Styx Hexenhammer, dude, you are awesome. We got to chat sometime. Thank you, Styx. Dewey, you signed up for our bronze level. Thank you, sir. Very kind. Thank you so much. Chief Robbie signed up at our bronze level. Thank you, Chief Robbie. You're the best, man. DJR signed up for our bronze level. Thank you, DJR. Bar. Tilt that so you hear that a little better. Get another one. Thank you, Bar. Signed up for our bronze level. Benelma signed up for our silver level. Thank you, Benelma. So kind of you. Don Walker signed up for our bronze level. Thank you, Don. Awesome. Ronald H signed up for our gold level. Thank you, Ronald. So kind of you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. You make the Saturday of Lazarus, as I started off with. So wonderful. So kind. Should we do one more drawing before we go? Let's do one more drawing, shall we? Remember, if you've downloaded your app, your name is getting entered into this drawing for Office Hours with Dr. Steve, right? So you're going to get, if I call your name, we're going to have a little online time, a little online chat, just the two of us, as it were. And it'll be great to have you in my office, and we'll chat about anything you want. So the next student who's coming in to have Office Hours with Dr. Steve is... So exciting. It is Mark Mueller. Mark Mueller. I hope I'm saying it right. Mark, you can correct me yourself when you go to freedom@turleytalks.com to claim your prize. Freedom@turleytalks.com to claim your prize, my friend. It'll be awesome to get to know you and meet you. Gang, it's always an honor to just spend some time with you each and every day. Like I told you, when we were threatened originally by Google with this massive hit in our monetization and our budget, I didn't know what I was going to do. Honestly, I didn't know how I was going to handle it. The way you guys are rising up and fighting back with us and helping us out by joining these levels, gang, this is so amazing. And I can honestly tell you, I am more dedicated to you, to our Turley Talks platform that we have here than I've ever been. And we're going to fight together. We're going to stand up. And like I say, we're always going to say to them, you may take our lives, but you will never, ever take our freedom. We will fight together. And together we're going to rebuild our nation into the nation that we love. God bless you guys. I'll see you on Monday. Take care.